Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello all, welcome to our webinar. So before we begin, let me introduce and welcome our speaker for the day, Ms. S. Sushree IPS. S. Sushree IPS is a native of Kollam and is among the most youngest IPS officers to serve our country. Though most of her schooling was done in Delhi, she completed her higher secondary education in Shabarikiri Residential School, Anjal. Following that, she joined St. John's College, Anjal, and had attained her bachelor's degree in communicative English. During this time, she had also attended the weekend classes at Kerala Civil Service Academy, Trivandrum. She attempted the UPSC Civil Service examination in 2017 and cracked it in her very first attempt by securing an All India rank of 151. She then chose to join the Indian Police Service and was posted in Odisha Kerala, after completing her year-long training in Dehradun and National Police Academy at Hyderabad. Since then, she has undergone an 8-month field training in Bhubaneswar, after which she was appointed as the Assistant Superintendent of Police in Odisha. The success story of S. Sushree IPS is undoubtedly one of merit and grit. In this journey, she was ably supported and guided by her father, Mr. Sunil Kumar, a former CRPF personnel who also worked on deputation in the Special Protection Group SPG between 2004 and 2010, and was also in the security team protecting former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. In 2008, as a 14-year-old, Ms. Sushree got an opportunity to present a bouquet to Dr. Manmohan Singh and his wife, Gursharan Kaur. She had mentioned in various instances that the brief conversation that she had on that day with Dr. Singh, in which he asked her about her dreams. She had replied that she wanted to be a civil servant and received Dr. Singh's blessing, which motivated her to a great deal. Apart from her father's support and guidance, she also received the guidance of IPS officers like Mr. N. Ramachandran, the former DGP of Meghalaya and Assam, and Mr. Rishyaraj Singh, our current DGP of Prisons. All this goes on to show how crucial proper guidance and support can be in weaving a success story for an aspiring civil servant. The Career Guidance Placement Cell of Vimla College hope that this session and interaction with S. Sushree IPS will serve that purpose for the students of our college. On that note, I welcome Ms. S. Sushree IPS to this webinar. Now, I would also like to welcome faculties from our college, our students who are civil service aspirants, and aspirants from other colleges as well. So, I welcome you all to this webinar, and I humbly request our speaker, Ms. Sushree IPS, to take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bino. I'm extremely privileged to be here. First of all, let me just see, am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes.
I'm like so much humbled and privileged to be among all the college students, and like this is like kind of my first appearance before people like after such a long time. So it's kind of special for me. Actually, എനിക്ക് ഞാൻ ഒരു പ്രിപ്പറേഷനും ഉണ്ടായിട്ടല്ല ഇരിക്കുന്നത്. So I'm just sitting like, I asked Dr. Binu also to just kind of give me an interaction session because I'm sure you guys already know about me. So nothing much like ഞാൻ എന്നെ കുറിച്ച് തന്നെ ഇനിയും പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ബോർ അടിപ്പിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല. So I just want you to like ask any questions that you would like to ask that you want me to answer. Anything.
Hello. Is it audible? Is it audible?
Yes,
Ma'am.
yes, please.
Ma'am, I would like to ask a basic question related to freshly appearing students, how to prepare for civil service exams. For a degree students, how to prepare. Related to preparation, first of all.
Okay, fine. Actually, just explaining from my experience, like because I also started preparing for it during graduation only. So the entire phase of preparation, it would change from person to person. So I can only speak for myself. Like I had started preparation for civil services simultaneously with my graduation. So graduation, the 3 years in the Samayatana, I was preparing for civil service, and the first step in my preparation was ഞാൻ ഓൾറെഡി ഒരു ടാർഗറ്റ് വെച്ചിരുന്നു. എനിക്ക് എപ്പോഴാണ് സിവിൽ സർവീസ് നേടേണ്ടത് ആൻഡ് ഏത് സർവീസ് ആണ് നേടേണ്ടത്, ഏത് സമയത്താണ് നേടേണ്ടത്, എവറിഥിങ് ദാറ്റ് ഐ മേഡ് എ ക്ലാരിറ്റി അബൌട്ട് ഇറ്റ്. സോ ഫോർ എനി ഗോൾ, ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ജസ്റ്റ് സിവിൽ സർവീസസ്, എനിത്തിങ് ദാറ്റ് യു വാണ്ട് to do, you need a target so that your entire efforts and everything is focused towards that target. So I had decided like now graduation because I already had got into the entrance for this engineering and medicine, but still I didn't go, and I chose English, communicative English. So because I knew within 3 years I would turn 21 and I would be eligible to write civil services. So our samayateke like by 2017 exam mode enike ezhudanulla oru adu kittunulla that was clear in my mind. So that's why I chose English, because it was just a passionate subject. It's not like English was going to help me in any way in civil services. Obviously, it's a language, yeah, that way, but otherwise, not much of a help. So, but since it's a passionate subject to me, I was confident that I will be able to study it very well and at the same time handle the civil service preparation too. So, ഞാൻ ആദ്യം ഗ്രാജുവേഷന്റെ സബ്ജക്ട്സ് എല്ലാം നേരത്തെ ഒരു ഫസ്റ്റ് സെമ്മിന്റെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏത് സെമ്മിന്റെ ആയാലും ഫസ്റ്റ് 2-3 months കൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ സ്വയം പഠിച്ചു തീർക്കും ബിഫോർ മൈ ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് വുഡ് ടീച്ച് മീ. സോ ആൻഡ് ബാക്കി അതിൽ വരുന്ന ഡൗട്ട്സ് എല്ലാം ഞാൻ ക്ലാരിറ്റി ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് വെൻ ദ ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് വുഡ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ടീച്ചിങ് സോ ദാറ്റ് ഐ കുഡ് ഗെറ്റ് ദം ക്ലിയർ, ഐ വുഡ് മേക്ക് നോട്ട്സ് ആൻഡ് എവറിഥിങ് ആൻഡ് കീപ് ഇറ്റ് അസൈഡ്. ബാക്കി സമയം ഐ വുഡ് give it for civil service preparations. So in the beginning, I had no clarity of what civil services was, how to do. So I went to a few magazines where the toppers and everyone, they would talk about like what to do, how the exam is, and all that kind of things. അതിലൂടെ ഒരു ഐഡിയ കിട്ടി. Then I went to Kerala State Civil Service Academy for weekend course. അതിലൂടെ നല്ലൊരു ഐഡിയ കിട്ടി എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് പഠിക്കേണ്ടത്. And more than the being taught there, what helped me was interacting with those who already had appeared for the exam and who might have cleared it or might not have cleared it. So they are like gems of knowledge. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരുപാട് നന്നായിട്ട് അവർക്ക് ഗൈഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, like what to do, what not to do, how to go about it and everything. And then the library of the academy was also very good. So usually weekends I would spend at the Kerala State Civil Service Academy and the Trivandrum Library. Then അതനുസരിച്ച് ഞാൻ പഠിക്കുമായിരുന്നു, and I would make then obviously for the civil service exam, that is like 1 year long exam, you need lot of patience, perseverance and management of time. That's the most important thing. നിങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കുന്നോ ഇല്ലയോ എന്നുള്ളതിലല്ല കാര്യം ഇരിക്കുന്നത്. The biggest thing is how you can manage the entire pressure of civil services. So അതിന് വേണ്ടിയാണ്, that's where my dad came in. എന്റെ അച്ഛൻ ഒരുപാട് അതിനു വേണ്ടി എന്നെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, ബിക്കോസ് ജസ്റ്റ് മീ ബീങ് കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് എ ഹോർമോണൽ ടീനേജർ കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് പേഴ്സൺ, ലൈക്ക് ഐ വാസ് ഈസിലി ഡിസ്ട്രാക്റ്റഡ് ആൻഡ് ഐ ഡിഡ്ന്റ് നോ വാട്ട് ടു ഡു ആൻഡ് ഓൾ. സോ ഹി വാസ് ദ വൺ ഹു ഫോക്കസ്ഡ്, like എങ്ങനെ how to go about it. He made a, like he knew my routine, so he made me a timetable and ഓരോ സമയം, including even my passionate subjects and my hobbies and everything, അതിനും സമയം കണ്ടെത്തി. And every single thing, like ഇത് ഇത്രയും പഠിച്ചു തീർക്കാനായിട്ട് എത്ര സമയം വേണം, അത് പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഏതാണ് പഠിക്കേണ്ടത്, അത് റിലേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഇപ്പം എന്താ പറയാ ഇന്റർനെറ്റിൽ ബ്രൗസ് ചെയ്യാനാണെങ്കിലും വി യൂഷ്വലി ഹാവ് ദിസ് തിങ് ഓഫ് ഗോയിങ് ആൻഡ് ഗോയിങ് ജസ്റ്റ് ഡിസ്ട്രാക്റ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് ബ്രൗസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് പോകുന്ന ഒരു ഇതുണ്ട്. സോ യു നീഡ് മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ഫോർ ബ്രൗസിങ് ഈവൻ ദ ഇന്റർനെറ്റ് സ്റ്റഫ്സ് ടു. എല്ലാത്തിനും ഒരു മാനേജ്മെന്റ് രീതിയിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോകായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അറ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ടൈം ഐ ഡിഡ് ഫീൽ ലൈക്ക് ക്ലോക്ക് വർക്ക് മോൺസ്റ്റർ കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് തിങ്. ഞാൻ ഒരുപാട് ഐ യൂസ് ടു ഗെറ്റ് ആംഗ്രി വിത്ത് മൈ ഫാദർ ഫോർ ബീങ് സച്ച് എ സ്ട്രിക്ട് പേഴ്സൺ ആൻഡ് എവറിഥിങ്. ബട്ട് ആഫ്റ്റർ എവറിഥിങ് ഇറ്റ് ഡിഡ് ഹെൽപ്പ് മീ അ ലോട്ട്. കാരണം ഒരുപാട് പേര് ഞാൻ എന്റെ അക്കാഡമിയിലും കണ്ടിട്ടുള്ള എന്നെക്കാളും ഒരുപാട് ഇന്റലിജന്റ് ആയിട്ട് എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയിട്ടുള്ളവരും ഏത് കാര്യത്തിനും ഏത് ചോദ്യത്തിനും ആൻസർ ഉള്ളവർ പലപ്പോഴും ക്ലിയർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റിയിട്ടില്ല. ബിക്കോസ് ദേ കുഡന്റ് മാനേജ് ദിയർ ടൈം, ദേ കുഡന്റ് മാനേജ് ദിയർ സ്റ്റഡീസ്, ദേ കുഡന്റ് bring out their whatever they are studying in the appropriate form. For this civil service, this is very much important. So അങ്ങനെ ഞാനത് പഠിച്ചെടുക്കുകയും അപ്പോൾ അതനുസരിച്ച് ഞാൻ പഠിച്ചെടുക്കുകയും പിന്നെ അതിൻ്റെ ഒപ്പം തന്നെ ഗ്രാജുവേഷന്റെ സ്റ്റഡീസ് ചെയ്യുകയും ചെയ്തു. And so soon after I had completed my graduation, I was like almost fixed and readied up to give the exam. അങ്ങനെ പ്രിലിംസിന്റെ എക്സാം കൊടുത്തിട്ട് then after that mains in the exam, I was simultaneously preparing for mains exam too. So it was easy for me to just continue with the studies. Just കുറച്ചൊന്ന് അതിന്റെ പാറ്റേൺ ഒന്ന് മാറ്റണമെന്ന് മാത്രം. Like prelims you had to by heart and everything, but in mains you have to make an opinion about everything. It's all about your how you are able to present whatever is being asked, and it has to be original ideas. It's not just copying it from all that things that you are studying, because everyone is doing that. Like ലക്ഷങ്ങളോളം ആൾക്കാരാണ് ഈ എക്സാം എഴുതുന്നത്, and so many, and all these people are usually studying from the same books only. Like Lakshmikant എല്ലാവർക്കും similar ആണ്, like Bipin Chandra, that is similar, or Majid Hussain, that is all similar. So same books are ellavarum padikkunnu, so the same information is going into your head. But what counts in all these same answers is how much original your idea is. കാരണം just imagine individually നിങ്ങളുടെ exam paper check ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു, like he gets thousands of paper to check, and എല്ലാത്തിനും same answer ആണ്, and he keeps on checking and he finds the same boring answer, just like your college teachers would be checking your answers. So obviously they know the feeling. They would get bored, like finding the same answer again and again. But suddenly, one paper where he finds or she finds a kind of innovative idea, something very different, something that makes him think, that's where he gives him marks. So our ideal, you have to mold yourself. You have to present something new, like an innovative, original idea. പിന്നെ പേഴ്സണാലിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റ് വരുന്നു, ദാറ്റ്സ് ലൈക്ക് അനദർ കൈൻഡ്.
ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ വായിച്ചു കൊടുക്കില്ലേ ശ്രീമാർ? ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ, ഒന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയണോ അതോ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ അവരൊന്ന്? ഓക്കെ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞോളാം. ഓക്കെ ഹലോ
ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആയിരുന്നോ?
No, you can continue. No issues, please continue.
So that's it. And by the round, that is personality test ആവുമ്പോഴേക്കും, the thing is, because throughout the exam you will feel like this 1 year long exam നിങ്ങൾ സ്വയം മാറുന്നതായിട്ട് തോന്നും. You will feel like you are changing, your attitude is changing, your perceptions are changing, your approaches are changing. That is what you present in your personality test. Finally, interview, that's actually a personality test. Like how this whole exam thing has changed you and what it has become of you. Are you now an officer-like person? Are you able to think in that manner? അതാണ് സിവിൽ സർവീസിന്റെ ഇറ്റ്സ് എൻറ്റയർലി എ മൈൻഡ് ഗെയിം. ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ഈവൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ആൻ എക്സാം. ഞാൻ ത്രൂ ഔട്ട് ആ എക്സാമിലൂടെ ആ ഒരു കാര്യമാണ് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയത്. ജസ്റ്റ് എ മൈൻഡ് ഗെയിം, നോട്ട് ജസ്റ്റ് ആൻ എക്സാം, നോട്ട് ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് എനി എക്സാം, നോട്ട് ഈവൻ ലൈക്ക് ദ ഗ്രാജുവേഷൻ എക്സാം ദാറ്റ് യു ഗിവ് ഇൻ ദ കോളേജ്. I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Ma'am, we have a lot of queries from our students.
Yeah, sure.
First of all, one Mercy Sage, ma'am, do you think that we could crack civil service examination only if we spend a year or something? Is it possible to complete, to achieve the examination within 1 year? That's their first question comes, please.
Okay, I'll
Is it
answer.
audible? Is it clear?
Yes. I'll answer one by one. Huh? Okay, so as for this 1 year, because a lot of time I have heard people saying that I studied this, prepared for civil services for 1 year or 2 years, then I gave the exam and all. Actually, they might have dedicated an year of their life to studying it, but entire exam is based on like your whole lifetime till then. It's not just about that 1 year or 2 year. ഞാൻ എക്സാം എഴുതിയപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് പലപ്പോഴും തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ട് ഈ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ഐ എം ജസ്റ്റ് റീഡിങ് ദാറ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആൻഡ് ഐ ഫെൽ that I could find a connection in that question with some poem that I read in 4th standard or something. So 1 year ഇതല്ല. It's all about your attitude or your perception or your experiences or whatever you might have learned in school, college, or maybe some cultural extracurricular activities that you've done. So അതെല്ലാമാണ് ചിലപ്പോൾ എക്സാമിന് വേണ്ടി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യും. യു നെവർ നോ വെയർ ദ ഇൻസ്പിറേഷൻ മൈറ്റ് കം ഫോർ യു ടു ആൻസർ എ പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. ബട്ട് യെസ്, ഡെഡിക്കേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സ്റ്റഡിക്ക് വേണ്ടി യു ഹാവ് ടു ഗിവ് സം ടൈം. അതിനു വേണ്ടിയാണ് വി സീ ദാറ്റ് 1 year we have to do and all. പക്ഷെ still, like for me, I didn't have to give 1 year because I was simultaneously studying with my graduation. But then it depends upon individuals. ചിലർക്ക് കുറച്ചും കൂടി full ഫോക്കസോടെ പഠിക്കാനായിട്ട് they would have to give 1 full year of their life to study. ചിലർക്കാണെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ജോബിന്റെ കൂടെ തന്നെ ചെയ്യുന്നവരുണ്ട്. They are still in the job but still studying and they are giving the exam. ചിലർ they might have a family life. They have to someone is unmuted. Okay, thank you. So they would be like a family person and they have to take care of their family and still study also. So it depends upon the individual.
Yes, ma'am. Another question comes from, ma'am, how can be consistent throughout this whole journey? It is related to something, your achievement. How can you maintain this kind of success in your life? I think this is a general question asked by a student, please.
As in success, can you just clarify more about it?
No, question is, how can be consistent throughout this whole journey? Because I think that it could be something like that of your consistency in your achievement or something like that. Maybe a question is to have some vagueness is there. Please, maybe there. Yeah.
Actually, the consistency, as that person mentioned, he or she rightly mentioned that consistency is very much important, something which I was very much lacking in. Because I was very much a restless kind of person. I can't just sit at one place and study. I just wanted to keep doing something. So I used to get distracted a lot. That's where I used to lack internal motivation to study and keep going for it in a consistent manner. That's where I wanted external motivation that came in the form of my parents, especially my father. So actually, pardon my Hindi, in between it might come, so pardon it, please. So actually, my father, he knew me thoroughly. So whenever I used to get distracted or he feels I am getting unstable or going in some other way, then he would step in and he would help me focus in on it again. His kind of motivation might be positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement, but still it was a much needed motivation for me to be consistent. So for you, it might be an internal motivation that is giving you consistency, like having a particular form of target that you have to achieve it somehow. You see yourself as that person, like what you want to be. Like maybe if you want to be an IAS officer, you see yourself as an IAS, or you see yourself as a doctor or a teacher, and you get an internal motivation from it that makes your studies and preparation consistent. And sometimes you might not have, because maybe you are facing a lot of problems, maybe just personal problems, or maybe something from internal only, or maybe you're too distracted, or anything. Then you need external motivation, and the biggest external motivation that can ever be are from your parents and your friends and relatives. But then friends and relatives, they have their own lives and everything, and it's only parents who keep throughout your journey without like asking anything from you. So that's one way that you can keep consistent throughout your preparation.
Ma'am, another query from one student, Jisha Joseph. She says, how difficult is it for a female IPS officer to face the challenges and hurdles of the service? I think that's something related to some gender. Is it possible to handle this kind of challenges when you are facing? How far it is possible? Okay, is it something related to as a female? How can you face the challenges as a police officer? Okay.
That's a very much relevant question. Like considering I myself am a female IPS, and IPS has always been my choice. But then, as long as you don't see yourself as a female or as a male, and just see yourself as a khaki donning IPS officer, no gender sensitivity, no kind of issues are an issue for you. Because you don't, the first thing that comes about like issues like ആൾക്കാർ എന്ത് വിചാരിക്കാം, I'm a female officer, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ എങ്ങനെ മെയിൽ ഓഫീസേഴ്സിനെ ഡീൽ ചെയ്യും, അവർ എന്നെ they might kind of try to like delimit me or something. The first step to all those issues come from within you only. When you start feeling less confident about yourself, you feel more overconscious that you are a female. When you don't have that consciousness, then why would you have to care about what the others feel? You just have to have a conviction that whatever you are doing it right. You have to have an intuition that gives you the thing that I can be as much good or maybe even more good than the male IPS officers. That's what gives you the confidence to face the world as a female IPS officer. You first have to stop seeing yourself as a female IPS officer and just an IPS officer. Yes?
Okay, ma'am. Another question is your success strategies. One student asked success strategies. How can you achieve this great event within stipulated period of time? Success strategies to prepare for a fresh civil service aspirant.
Okay. First and foremost about it is like you should know what you want. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്താണ് വേണ്ടതെന്നുള്ളതിനെ കുറിച്ച് ഒരു ഡയറക്റ്റ് ഒരു ക്ലിയർ ഗോൾ വേണം. You need a clarity of thought about you want where you want to go. They mute. Thank you.
Hello, Stenia, please switch. Oh, okay, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
Okay,
Sorry, ma'am. Please.
Okay. So first of all, you need clarity of thoughts about where you want to be, and you have to see yourself as that person. That is, you need to have a target, clarity of thoughts and target. So when you have the target of where you want to be and how you want you to see yourself as that person, and when you want to see yourself as that person, and what all you want to do to be that person, these are all your targets. Once you have a clarity of idea about all this, the rest of the route or the way you have to take to reach that your goal, it becomes very much clear, and you feel everything is falling into the place. Like it's like the world conspires to make you achieve whatever you are passionate about. So first are these two: clarity of ideas and the goal or the targets. Next is you need to have a positive attitude towards it. Like sometime during the preparation and everything, it's very much natural to feel that you can't do it, that it's taking a toll on you. Like it's too draining. Like I just want to stop it. Like I used to have a lot of these kind of feelings when I was preparing. Just wanted to leave the civil service preparation. I used to tell my father like I will do anything but this. Okay. So it was like I just want to leave this. I would do anything except this. But it's very much natural that you would feel, and you need a positive attitude, a perseverant attitude for that. Like you have to keep convincing yourself that why you are doing this, for whom you are doing this, and for whom the answer should be it is for you, not for your parents, not for your friends, not for your society, anyone. It's for you. You have to be selfish in a few things. And selfishness, of course, it is a negative connotation, but many times selfishness can help you achieve a lot of successes in some things. Because you are being selfish to be later selfless for the society. For this, you have to be selfish. So in once you go through, and the rest of the things, they fall in place, like being hardworking, and more than hardworking, you have to be smart working, because hardworking can take a big toll on you. So you have to know what to do, what not to do. More than to know what to study, you have to decide what not to study. There are many people who would like study 10 books, and there are people like I used to study only 2 books per subject. But then I would kind of revise it like 10 times. I would revise it almost every week, then every fortnight, every month. And that was enough for me to get through the exam in like first attempt only. But there are people who study like 10 to 20 books and still they might forget to revise it. So it's very important to smartly approach it rather than just hardworking and giving all your efforts and then finding no results. And then next is keep during that studying period, never lose focus of your personality. You have to grow yourself into a good personality. Like because just studying and not keeping a positive outlook can be very much delimiting for you. So you have to grow as a very good individual who is suitable for the goal that you are trying to achieve. So that's what I told in the beginning. Like in personality test, they have kept it in the last because they know that this whole year is enough to change you as a person. And they want to know what kind of person you have become throughout this preparation in the personality test. So for that, when you start preparing only, or if some of you are preparing, then you would know that how much it is changing you. It's not like studying for the graduation exams or PSC exams or anything. This is an altogether different game level. So these are a few things that it's not quite a strategy, but a few things that you have to keep in mind while preparing for anything, not just civil services, any exam or anything. Yes.
Ma'am, another query from a student, selection of disciplines. First of all, from arts or science, which could be more appreciable for a fresh appearing student? Which subject is most appreciable for writing the exams, arts or science?
Actually, I can only speak for myself in this level. Like in 12th, till 12th, I was a biomath student, science student. And then I was like, I knew I had to write civil services, but I was in a fix, like what to study for graduation, whether I should study graduation or I should just appear for JEE and NEET and go for medicine or engineering. But then owing to the pressure from my peers and all, I did write the entrance exam and I also gave the NATA exam for architecture and all. And I scored quite good marks and even I almost got through it. So I could have gone, I had a lot of options to go. But inside, I wasn't, I was not kind of happy with going for any of the engineering or medical stream. And also being practical, I just wanted to be self-sufficient, wanted to be self-dependent in a very short period of time. And I found that graduation studies can help me achieve it because for civil services, the minimum eligibility is a graduation and a 21 years. So I knew that by the time 3 years of my graduation was over, I would already be 21 and I have a graduation. I was like totally eligible to write the civil service exam. That's why I decided to go for graduation. Then came the option of what to take for graduation. Now I always had a passion for English subject. It was like one of my favorite subjects, literature. I used to read a lot and everything. So I wanted a subject that would help me prepare for civil services without compromising on my graduation subject. So I decided to go for English. Then I had an option of English literature or communicative English. And now I decided to go for something different, that is communicative English. It's a kind of a rare subject and very few colleges have it. But I decided to go because I thought it would be professionally helpful for me. Like just English literature and a communicative angle to it, it's a bit of difference to it. And I'm happy I took communicative English graduation. And then the thing came which college to go for. So I decided, I found with the help of my father that communicative English was present in the college that was near to my home, in my own village only. So I decided to go for that. So that because it's like very much many people, they were kind of angry with me, like leaving the medical and engineering and everything and going to take some communicative English in some remote village in a college, like, and all that. But my focus was civil services, not the graduation English and everything, because that was just a kind of side business for me. I knew that I would pass it. I knew I would do well in that. But my primary focus was civil services. And mind you, I didn't tell anyone that I was preparing for civil services too. So it was a kind of internal affair. So I didn't, I was a bit tensed at that time, but my dad was very clear about it. My father told me not to like lend ears to all these people who are telling you this and that. People have their own opinions and everything. Once you are clear about what you want to do, just go for it. So that's why I decided to join St. John's College, that is in Anjal, in my village, and join communicative English. And it helped me immensely. That's why I'm sitting here before you. Because it was through a thorough planned out gesture and which helped me achieve every single step. And every single step that I took was a step closer to achieving my goals. And it was very much planned and thorough. So what I want to tell you about the discipline that you want to take is just that you should first have an idea what you want to be. What is your final outcome goal? Like in management studies also, if you people are any of you are studying, you will know that outcome is more important than the means. Once you have a clear goal of the outcome, then the things will fall in place. You will know what discipline you have to take, when, by what time you have to complete it, how to go about it, which is your priority and all that. So that way you can take a discipline. I hope I have made it clear.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, could you please brief about the syllabus of prelims and mains? Some student asked. Only briefing of the syllabus of civil service.
Okay. Actually, it's like 2-3 years since I had the exam, so I might not be very much clear. Though you can go to the UPSC site and find it. Like prelims, just a general idea I will give. I might make a mistake or two somewhere. Please pardon me for that. Like prelims, you have to have. It's the whole exam is like 3-phased: prelims, mains, and personality test. So in prelims, you have 2 papers. One is general studies and one is CSAT, that is civil service aptitude test. CSAT is a qualifying exam. That is, you have to just score like 25% or something. And once you qualify, then your general studies paper will be marked. And that is what is a defining thing to help you get to the mains exam. So general studies paper is all about like objective type of questions and all. And you have to like MCQ type questions and you have to choose the options and all. And CSAT is all about CSAT is about the aptitude test. That is, it would have English, the reasoning, logical questions, and mental ability questions and all. But it's only a qualifying test. And coming to the mains, we have 9 papers. And the first 2 papers are kind of qualifying papers, and they are not considered for ranking. And paper A is English, and paper B is of matriculation level English language, and paper B is of any Indian language that is present in the Indian Constitution's 8th schedule. There are 22 languages there, so you have to choose any one language. Malayalam is an option, and Hindi is also there. I took Hindi. And the other 7 papers are, one is essay paper of 250 marks, and these 7 papers are all considered for ranking, and they are compulsory, all are compulsory papers. And then essay you have to write, that depends on the year. Sometimes they ask you to write only one essay, sometimes they ask you to write 2 essays. We had to write 2 essays. And the second paper is General Studies 1 or GS1. It has history and geography and society kind of questions in it. And the second paper, that is GS2, is about governance, constitution, polity, social justice, international relations. And GS3 is about technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security, and disaster management. GS4 is about ethics, integrity, and aptitude. It is a relatively newer subject, ethics, integrity, aptitude. So it kind of sees about what is your attitude towards things. It has a lot of case studies and all. So just to analyze how your approach towards various situations is. And last 2 papers, it's an optional paper. You have to select one optional, and of which you have 2 papers, part A and part B. I chose sociology, so I had to write sociology part A, that is focused on the general sociology, and sociology part B, that is more focused on the Indian sociology. And then, so this totally, it is about 1,750 marks, and unlike the prelims, mains is descriptive answering. So you have to write the word limits, and the marks also changes from year to year. So you have to write and about the questions that are being asked. And final phase is personality test, or what you generally know as interview, and that is of 275 marks. So all this together are of 2025 marks. This is the general structure of the exam.
Ma'am, could you speak something about it? Recently, it is found that in Indian civil service main examination, there is a lot of questions are coming from Indian society, background of Indian society, and the repercussions of Indian society, globalization of Indian society, something like that. How art students want to prepare for that? Art students for the preparation of such questions.
I think for art students, Indian society kind of things are very much easy for them to study. It's usually for the engineering and medical students who have to give a lot of efforts to study it. Indian society, any kind of, it's not just Indian society, any subject, you have to first go through the basics of it. For that, NCRTs, as you all know, it's the biggest, fathers of any kind of subject. You have to go through the NCRT books from 5th standard till 12th, and some subjects only need till 10th, and like science and all, you need to study only till 10th. But Indian sociology, like Indian society related, we have to go till 12th. We have some sociology related NCRT books in 11th and 12th. That would be very much helpful. And then you can take up a few books on Indian society by discussing with the aspirants who have already wrote the exam and all. And another biggest thing that you have to do is be updated with the current affairs. For that, you have to go through the newspapers every day and go through the articles that come in a few good magazines, go through a few websites, and keep browsing about things that you can't understand, and to understand various dimensions of it. Like from one source, you will get only one perception of one dimension. But UPSC wants you to analyze in multi-dimensional manner. For that, you have to consider a lot of sources so that you can make your own opinion. Like those who write those sources, it's their own opinion. What UPSC is asking for is what's your opinion. For that, you have to bring up original ideas. These sources only help you think in a particular manner. Like obviously, we have only one brain, and we would be having only one kind of perception. So when we read something, someone's article, we find, this is also possible. This kind of thinking can also be done. And that way, this will lead you to another kind of dimension, but like this is also possible. And from there, you will get another idea, like that is also possible. This is what is your original idea. So your ideas that is emanating from the ideas that you get from the sources. So that way, Indian society, you can, or as for any matter, like any subjects, you can go in that manner.
Now, one general question from Victor Vagish. He says that Ma'am, could you please share something about your training practice, training period? What are the different challenges you faced in your training period as a civil servant? Okay, it's a general question, I think.
No, it's okay. Actually, for me, I used to think that civil service preparation was the most challenging thing in my life until I got to my actual IPS training. And I now think that IPS training is the biggest challenge in my life. But of course, in field, it is going to be even more challenging. But my training, even though it was challenging and difficult, but it was the most enjoyable thing, and it kind of like changed thoroughly and in many ways in both personality as well as in my thinking manner. It changed me in a lot of ways. Like training, starting about the training, like it's in Hyderabad. IPS training happens in Hyderabad. That is called the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy, and it is a very big institution, like of 1,200 acres big institution, and we have both indoor studies and outdoor studies. Indoor studies is all about law-based subjects, CRPC, IPC, IES, special acts, and PLM, that is police leadership management, maintenance of public peace and order, and ethics, and a lot of other subjects. We have many subjects. And outdoors is all about, like, the best part of NPA training is outdoors, and most challenging is also outdoors. And we had PTs obviously, and we had drill, we had equestrian means horse riding and all, and we had swimming, we had RCM, that is riot control module. That is whenever, like, you must have seen, like, strikes or hartal happens and police jumps on the field to stop the protesters and everything. That is called riot control module. We are given training in that. And we had weapons training, we had firing module, and like lots of it. Even I can't remember. Actually, our training is divided into three phases. First phase 1, then we have a district practical training, then we have phase 2. Phase 1 is 9 months long, and we have attachments in between, attachments with various CAPF organizations, various central intelligence organizations, and even with the other kind of IAS or IRS institutions, and ITBP, a lot of stuff. All these attachments would be like a week long or maybe days long, and we learn a lot of stuffs that are related with that particular organization. It's very much challenging as well as very beautiful to learn, and it's interesting too. And in DPT, it's 6 months long, district practical training, where we'll be sent to the respective cadres that we have been assigned, where we are given a district. And I was assigned Rourkela in Odisha. My cadre is Odisha, so I was sent to Rourkela. And it was another experience. I will share with you that soon. And then phase 2. Phase 2 is 3 months long, but due to Corona period, it almost went till 4 months for us. And finally, it is passing out parade that happened like a couple of days back for us. That is when we convert from IPS probationer to IPS officers. That is a culmination of a training period. So in phase 1, yes, challenges, if you ask me, everything was a challenge for me because, for one, I was quite outdoorish, like in school and colleges, but unfortunately, due to civil service preparation and all, I gained a bit of weight and then went to foundation course that happens in Mussoorie, Bhopal, and Hyderabad, like where all the services, all the people from the services, they come together and they are given a foundation course. And at that time, I suffered an injury on my ankle. I had a ligament tear, grade 2 tear. And so I was most of the time confined to my room with a plaster on my leg during FC. So I gained a lot of weight during that time. I was like 77 kgs or something when I came to NPA. And so, and also I had like lost all my outdoor and everything during the preparation time and all. So in NPA, that was the biggest challenge for me. I had to lose my weight. I had to get in line with the other probationers. Some were fit, some were unfit. Some used to like outdoors, some were indoors. Lot of kind of people come. And then for me, one big thing is I have a tendency to get injured frequently. So even if it is a flat surface or something, I can't walk straight. I usually tend to fall over my own feet. So I again got injured in NPA, and I kind of had a ligament tear again during the basketball tournament. So I that was grade 3 tear, that is full tear. So most of my time of phase 1 was spent in hospital, like almost totaling 2.5 months. So, but the thing about NPA is, if you get injured and you are like missing out on classes, they would want you had to complete all those missed out classes later as NAP, that is non-attending periods. So all those hours of missed out class you had to complete on a Saturdays and Sundays. So for me, since I was like 2.5 months in hospital, that was a whole lot of thing because not a single day I had free. I was like on training like 24/7. Morning we wake up at 4:30, and by the time everything was over, it was 10:30 in the evening or 10:30. And then we come back. Usually I won't even get dinner because the dinner mess would be closed. So I had no recovery period also to get off from my injury. And then biggest challenge was we have this route marches. So route marches mean you have to carry 20 kgs of weight, a rucksack along with a rifle, and you have to walk long distance. So it's even there for Army, CAPF training and all. So we have kind of 5 route marches, one 15 km and another one more 15 km, then one 25 km, and then one 25 km with navigation, and finally the 40 km. So we have to walk this much kilometers and holding the 20 kilogram of luggage and rifle and in the hot burning sun. So I had done only the first 15 km when I got injured and I was in the hospital. So by the time during the time I was in hospital, the 115 km of route march and 125 and another 25 km was already done. So final exam is about 40 km. When you this final 40 km is taken for marking. So I was like, they were like, since ma'am, I by that time I came out from the hospital, and but they were like, you can't attend the exam if you can't complete the other 3 that I missed out. And they said the 40 km was in 1 week. Artha 40 km. So I had no option but to complete these 3 and then do the 40 km. So they were a bit apprehensive. They said that route march is very heavy, like you get blisters on your feet and you get all this black spot. Your head start getting dizzy and everything. You become very weak and everything. But still, I decided to go for it, and I like kind of completed 110 kilometers of route march within 7 days, including 115 kilometers, 125 kilometers, 125 kilometers, and another 40 kilometers within 7 days period. That was the biggest challenge for me. And because people can't even survive 125 kilometers, like after that, it's very, very big deal of thing, like walking so much and holding all the 20 kilograms of stuff and all. So that was one biggest challenge that I can never forget, but it did teach me a lot of things because I didn't know that I was so strong, that I can hold so much, that I had so much of willpower. Because before NPA, it was my whole trust was on my father, that if I faced any issue, I would always look up to my father. But during the training period, my father was like, it's all you and I'm not going to help you or anything. So I finally found that I really can look up to myself. I have a willpower inside me that I can look up to. I don't really have to look for my father every time. I can also handle things myself. That was very big lesson for me, and that increased my confidence like anything. And during DPT, that is district practical training too, we faced a lot of challenges, and biggest challenge was of course the corona situation. That was an unprecedented event in living memory. So we had no idea what to do. We have never been given a training in NPA how to deal with such situation because it was totally unprecedented. No one saw it coming. And then we had riot situation, like I was just months old into the service. I was still a probationer, and there were people who were trying to burn the police stations, police camps, and they were throwing stones at us. We had to tear gas them, we had to lathi charge them and all. So it was a big deal of experience, and because I was still just new to the service, I was like so young and all, I had no idea. But then it did teach me a lot of things. So NPA training, yes, it was challenging, but it was the best memorable thing that ever happened to me. Thank you.
Ma'am, last but not least, but one, what is your advice or your messages for young civil servant, women young civil servant aspirants of our college? What are the practical strategies to tackle this great event?
For women, I just have one advice. Like, just don't see yourself as a woman, just see yourself as a person. You are a person in your own right. You are an individual in your own right. You have all the strength, all the willpower, and everything that men do not have. Men have like strength and like their muscle strength or maybe everything. But researchers have proved that women's willpower and mental strength is far more greater than men's. That is one biggest advantage that we women have. Like even in NPA training, so that is what we saw. Like we were 28 lady probationers in training, and we were total 152 people in total. And among them, we were just 28 ladies. But still, we ladies used to come first in many things. Why? It's not because we didn't have strength. Obviously, NP training wants strength, demands strength, physical strength, and everything. But we women used to come forward, we used to come first because we used to strategize. Men tend to use their muscle strength, but we women tend to use our brain strength to make a smart work and reach them. That is your biggest thing. Like even for services also, people would keep working hard and finding things and they would do everything. But for women, they can always find ways that is very much adaptable to their own physical self, their own physical, uh, their own mental capability. They can always find ways out of their vulnerabilities. As women, we know best what are our vulnerabilities. But as women, we also know how to make those vulnerabilities our strength. Never stop believing yourself. People around you, they might say anything, they might say a lot of things. They would kind of, they would be like trying to push you down. They would say, നീ ഒരു പെണ്ണാണ് നിനക്ക് ഇതൊന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. This is a man's field, you can't do this. There might be a lot of people to discourage you. I have faced that discouragement. But the biggest thing that you can do is not to listen to them. That is your biggest strength. You don't have to listen to what every single person says. As long as you have conviction of what your heart says. Like I, being a woman, still I got 4th position in the entire NPA training. Like just 28 women, and we had 130 plus boys, the gentleman probationer. Still, I was able to get the 4th position. So it's all about your mental strength. It's like I told you, like I came to NPA 77 kgs and I couldn't do anything. I was like, I used to get injured frequently. I had lost so much motivation. And between the training also, I was in depression. Literally, I was in a depression. I used to like, had no idea what to do and everything. But still, you find a motivation. You find something to live for somewhere. And that is what gave me, and presently if you ask me, like from that 77 kgs to present 58 kgs that I am now, that's a big deal of difference. And that helped me like get a motivation, get a confidence in myself, to feel beautiful in my own skin, to understand myself, to find a willpower that I couldn't find earlier. And that helped me, that is now helping me, giving me a confidence that Even though the forward passage is something very much anonymous that I don't know what is in store for me, and like going to an unknown place, meeting a lot of unknown people and everything. But I had this confidence that I can do anything. Even because I don't see myself as a woman, I just see myself as a person, as an IPS officer. That's the only thing I exhort you all to do. Don't see yourself as a woman. Because when you see yourself as a woman, all those weaknesses of woman would also come in your mind. But then you have to think how to convert all those weaknesses into your strength. It lies with you. Society might not help, but you can help yourself. That's all I want to tell. Thank you.
And ma'am, before we close, there is one last question from a student. Ashwina asks, ma'am, could you share some strategies for effective note-making for current affairs and general studies?
Okay, note making. Yes. Note making. Actually, I also had no idea how to make notes. I kind of talked with a lot of people about note making and all, and then I adapted a style that was that I found suitable for myself. So I will tell my technique, but please don't copy the same because it might not be suitable to you. Find inspiration from that technique and modify it according to your needs and circumstances. Like what I used to do was, my way of writing notes was like I would study a book, and while studying only, I would make notes. Like if I find the important thing, I would underline and then I would make a note. Because instead of just studying, is like far better thing is like you study and then make note if the retention capacity is better. And then some people also do it like yesterday on something only I was talking to an aspirant and she said her way of making notes is like studying the whole chapter and then making a note out of her memory. That is also a good technique. It also helps you in retention, but that depends on the individual. Like for me, my comfortable zone was like studying and then making notes. And making notes is because when exams are around the corner, you don't have enough time and energy to go through entire books and study through them. That's where your notes come handy, because you can just go through your notes because you yourself made it and you would be reminded of what all you studied. So it would be very much helpful. And that way I used to make notes of all the books, and then I used to revise it thoroughly, like every week, like every Saturdays, and then every fortnightly, that is 2 weeks, and then every monthly. That way I had made a timetable to revise all these notes. As for newspaper and magazines, where you had to make notes, people like kind of do paper cuttings and do the headlines on news reports and make a correction. I also used to do that in the early time, but then it became too unmanageable for me. Like I couldn't find what to do with all this newspaper cuttings. So what I did was, first I took the syllabus of the civil services, and I took a few A4 sheets and a big file, and I wrote GS1 on top of one sheet, and then GS2 on the other, GS3. That way I wrote them GS4. Okay. And GS1, what all subjects related to GS1 are there, and wherever I find, like while reading newspaper, if I find a report that is related to GS1, then I would make a note under the GS1 part. And then if I find under GS3, I find a report or an article in magazine or anything, then I would make a note under that GS4 or GS3 part. And then like in newspaper and magazines and all, you might not get the entire picture. Like for example, like a couple of days only back, I saw this news of India and Iran helping make an Afghan peace pact. Now that is a news, and that news would only tell you what is the MOU about, what all are the where they are having this MOU, what kind of pact they are going to make, and what is the implication. That's all. But to know why India and Iran only, why this peace pact is necessary for Afghanistan, what about the other countries that are near, what is the equation with China and Pakistan, because they are also neighboring, and what is the history that led to this kind of situation and all. You won't get this from newspaper. For this, you have to depend Google or internet and some kind of websites, some magazines and all. From all this, you will get a lot of information related to that particular thing. So that when next time the newspaper on newspaper, like a couple of days later, there is a progress about that particular fact or particular news, you will be able to understand that news better. So you can make all those related points. You can add all those related points that you get from internet and magazine and all near the place where you got you wrote about the particular news report. So you can keep adding on it, or you can just write it like paper page continued on page this or wherever you have to connect with it, so that when you are studying, it would be easy for you to study the notes like continuously one after another, and you can relate that which GS paper this particular topic is related to. So this was my technique, and it was comfortable for me, but it might not be comfortable for many of you. So you have to adapt the same kind of technique from in your own manner, like which is suitable for you, or which is comfortable for you. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. This is any participant would like to ask any questions to ma'am directly, you can ask. We have to wind up this session within 5 minutes. So if anybody want to ask questions related to your preparation of civil service, please ask. Otherwise, we want to wind up.
You can ask me anything. It's okay. You
Okay.
don't have to act shy or anything.
Any queries, please? Okay.
Ma'am, there is another question that have popped up in the comment box. Anupama asks, ma'am, how did you select your optional subject? What was your strategy for selecting that?
Okay. Yeah, that's very important part in civil services. Like my optional was sociology, and I had no background in sociology, but still I selected because like I at that time I was in a bit of doubt what subject I have to study for optional, because it's a very important part of your civil service exam. Like it's of a great weightage. So my father was also kind of thinking about it. We both were thinking what to take, and then suddenly my father asked me, "What about sociology?" And we kind of went through all these subjects of optionals that are present in the syllabus, and then my father asked me to round up those subjects that I feel interesting or that I feel I can handle. So I rounded up all those subjects. So finally, it was like 7, 8 subjects that came to my mind that I thought I can handle or that is of interest to me on first glance. Like first glance, you can find out like engineering subjects are of interest to you, or if geography is interesting to you that way. So just on the first glance, I rounded up all those subjects that interested me, and then he asked me to go through the question papers, the past year question papers of all these selected subjects. I went through it, and when I went through it, I found that some subjects felt like too tough for me. Like I could get no idea like what to write. Even though I didn't study any of the subject, it was like first glance I knew that I can't handle this paper. But some subjects I found that yes, I can make out something, but even without studying, I can write some answer that way. So I felt in a few subjects that way, and those subjects I put aside. So it came down to I think 3 or 4 subjects. And then finally, out of these 3 and 4 subjects, I went through the NCRT books to see if reading through these subjects is helping me understand, is helping me find it interesting, is keeping my interest and passion, and like if I am being confident in reading all this. So when I went through it, finally I found that sociology is kind of the best thing that is kind of holding my interest. And also sociology I found to be coinciding with a lot of my GS papers too. Like you can find sociology in everything, like even in geography, even in history, even in politics. It's all about society only. So it was coinciding in so many subjects that I knew And also, even in my graduation subject also, even though it was English, it was all about society only. Like English literature students would know it is all about English society or how world has changed and everything. So I knew that I could handle this subject. And moreover, it's secondary only, but my father is also an MBA, and he has done an MA in sociology. So I knew that if I was like stuck in some kind of quirky area, I can always ask my father to help me out. So, but I didn't have to use that option though, because it was easy for me to study. So that's how I selected my optional. So you guys can also use the same technique to select your optional.
Okay. I think that it is a time for winding up our session.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Srigumar, please.
Yes, sir. So I request sir to propose a vote of thanks. But Vinu sir, please.
Okay, thank you, respected speaker of the day, Sushree IPS, and respected principal, vice principal, all faculty members, and all the aspirants of civil service, and one who have joined this Google Meet. Thank you very much, because I would like to say something about her 1 hour or talk related to civil service was very excellent. It was something like that of we are experiencing a beautiful poem. Especially, she proved herself to be one of the best teacher also. That it is a great thing. All the doubts which have arose by the civil servants aspirants, she beautifully tackled it. That it is a quality of a good civil service officer, even though she was 23-year-old. You remember that. So whatever it may be on behalf of the Bhubaneswar Autonomous College, we sincerely express our gratitude and our thanks to Sushree IPS. And above all, Sunil sir, he's also one of my friend, and he is also the backbone of all the success behind Sushree that I know. And Sunil sir, thank you very much for giving such a wonderful resource person for enriching our student and other fraternities. And above all, Kalchichi is also there, and also express my sincere gratitude and thanks to Kalchichi and all other your family members. And this is the best time and for utilizing this moment and resources from Sushree. Thank you, Sushree, IPS, and I think that your presence is more needed for our institute. Frequently, we will contact you. And if you have time, please be cooperate with us and enrich our students for accomplishing their goals. Thank you all once again.
I just would like to add something. Thank you for like giving me an opportunity to meet with you all again. Just if anyone has like, I just found the chat and I think there are many questions that I couldn't answer. I'm so sorry about it. But if any of you want to personally get in touch with me, you can always do that. I'll be very much happy to help you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, have a great day, and you please go further and do your postdoctorate, doctorate, PhD, postdoctorate degrees, and everything that it could be better for your enriching career. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.